Hello there. This is Mary Angela Talk for Crazy Talks with Wise People. Today we have a guest. Well, he is a common face here at our podcast because he is among our favorites. Why is he our favorite? He's very kind. And not only that, he carries good news, which is the gospel. The gospel is the good news, and the good news is Christ, and Christ is hope. Now he carries with him hope. That's why he has Christ. Now you already know him, right? He's got long credentials, but if you've watched the first two podcasts and the previous podcast we had last year, then you must already know him, right? Okay, well, just key points about him. He's an international public speaker. He is a member and one of the leaders for the Speakers Bureau, um, called C Suite for Christ. He is president of Glad Associates. He is called in the marketplace ministry, and he's really making waves in this circle. And I'm so happy that me being called in the marketplace ministry has known him, known Chet Gladkowski, our guest for today, because I'm getting a lot of his emails um, every week, every day, and because of that, I am able to read and get inspired. Our life is full of challenges, so we need hope. Please subscribe to his vlog, and if you don't like, you can unsubscribe, but I'm sure you will like it. I'm subscribed. Sometimes, Chat, I'm not able to make a comment or like because I'm very busy, but I do read your vlogs. His vlogs are full of hope and encouragement. Now, aside from that, and one of his achievements recently is that he just published a book. And that we will talk about again today. Well, last time he presented two he presented very important information about hope. And now he will still be talking about hope. Chet Gladkowski, once again.
Hi, thank you so much for that very kind introduction. And just want to say hello to everybody who's watching or listening. It really is an honor to be with you. When you just look around, just get in a queue, a line somewhere, and people are bustling. They have no patience. I was driving back, my wife Marianne, from an appointment, and we were in line for a red light. And rather than everybody waiting in line, these cars are going all around us. And this one truck not only went around, but then jumped over the median bumpers that were to stop people. They just went right over it because they were in such a hurry. And we looked at ourselves and said, what is so important? And if only we would look forward to refilling our lives with hope, with such anticipation. Hope is not something that's going to fall out of the sky. It is not like going on Amazon and it automatically will refill your prescriptions or send you something every month. You have to take steps. It's like filling your car with petrol, with gasoline. It's not going to happen by itself. You have to be aware that the gauge is going down,
Ah,
and then you have to take steps in order to refill it up. I had to do that with my electric vehicle the other day. We were out for a long journey, and I had to make a stop, and I had to purposefully pull in, plug it in, and wait. Even filling up your car with petrol, gasoline, diesel, it's not instant. It takes time and it takes investment. It costs you something to refill your vehicle, and it will cost you something to refill your life with hope. And that's why I created this book in order to help you
Mhm.
understand the pieces, the steps in order to refill your life with hope.
Mhm.
And that's what we've talked about in the past, is how you and I can refill our own lives. There were 7 steps we've gone through in the past.
Mhm.
Review those podcasts.
Yeah.
But today we're going to flip it on its side. We're going to look at the other side, because if all we do is fill our lives up with hope,
Yeah.
that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But you'll only be halfway there, because until we start sharing hope,
Mhm.
will we really understand the full breadth of hope. And that's what we're going to look at today, the 10 steps on how to share hope. And
Ah.
just like this graphic shows you,
Mhm.
it is action, it is energy, it takes thought, it takes purpose.
Mhm.
So we're going to go through these steps one at a time, and I'll just go through them, and so we can talk through them. The first is to have a hopeful assumption. When you meet
Full
someone,
assumption.
or something happens to you. The other day we went to a tech shop to retrieve a computer that was broken.
Mhm.
And it's 40 minutes away. We went up there, we got there, we had an appointment, everything's great. But I noticed as we drove up that the parking lot was empty. I
Mhm.
thought, this is great. We're going to be able to go right in and get it and be done. Well, as we walked up, we were met by 2 employees, and they told us that there was no power, not only in that building, but the entire shopping center. Something had happened, there was no power, and they couldn't let us in. We couldn't pick up the computer. We would have to come back at another time. Now, I can look at that and sulk, and I could throw an attitude. I could stick my lower lip out, and sulk. But could I then instead say, well, you know what? I believe God's in control of even this irritation,
Mhm.
and He's going to use it for His good and for the glory of Him and the good of people. So rather than thinking about how this is a problem, I need to look at people and situations and say, you know what? Maybe God's doing something here. Maybe I need to be patient and wait to see the good that's coming out of it.
Mhm.
And in today's world, how do we look at people? They're either for us or against us. And if they don't agree with us, they're our enemy and we hate them.
Mhm.
Somebody once said that we shouldn't look at people that way, that we need to remember that they're made in the image of God.
Mhm.
And that same God whose image we're made in died for us and for them. And that gives us a way to look at them hopefully. The second step is what I'll call hopeful acceptance. No
Mhm.
matter who people are, no matter what they say, no matter what they've done, hasn't God accepted us?
Mhm.
Romans says not that while we were sinners, while we were so far away, what did Jesus do? He came and died for us. But it says we were more than just sinners, we were His enemies. God came for His enemies. We need to have a very different view and revolution in our thinking about the people
Mhm.
who disagree with us. We need to treat them like the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan helped who? Someone who was Jewish,
Mhm.
their political enemies. He helped them, he helped heal them, he carried them, he
Mhm.
paid for their hospital bills.
Mhm.
Now, if that's not loving your neighbor, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're to do. We are to be people who look at them and accept them. And a tip is don't wait for them to accept you. No, you take the initiative and you extend your hand, you reach out to them. It's on us, for you and I, to start the process. Don't wait for someone else. The third third way to share hope is with hopeful listening. I've stumbled on a phrase, give the gift of listening. Don't be playing with your phone. If it rings, ignore it. Give them your full attention. Look into their eyes. Lean in. Don't fold your arms. And when they say something and there's a pause, say, don't start looking for ways to pick at them. Say, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Look for ways to connect with people. Don't look for ways to reject people. Listening is a great way that we do that. It's no mistake. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Maybe we should listen twice as much as we talk. And my purpose in listening is not to fix the other person. It's not to correct them. It's to accept them, even as I'm accepted by God through Jesus. And the next one is, the fourth step is hopeful posture. I sort of touched on that. The way I stand, the way I sit, if I'm leaning back away from people, I need to engage with people. Think about
again, please. Hopeful listening, and then what's next?
Hopeful posture.
Hopeful posture. Okay.
Yes. So
body language, right?
Yes, exactly. It's hopeful assumptions, hopeful acceptance, hopeful listening, and hopeful posture. Hopeful, the way we move and communicate with our bodies. People a lot smarter than me say that somewhere between 70 and 90+% of everything we say is never said with our mouth. Correct. It's with our face, with our eyes. Remember during the pandemic and we all wore masks?
Yeah.
Our eyes. There was a TV show called MASH. It was about 50 years ago. It was about surgeons in the Korean War. And a lot of it took place in surgery. And they all had, the masks. But look at those actors, how their expressions with their eyes, how their foreheads, even when they smiled under the mask, you could see how it pulled on their ears. We should purposefully practice the idea that I'm speaking. You'll notice I use my hands a lot. Now, part of that is because of my ethnic heritage, but part of it, yes. My mother's family spoke with their hands. They were all the time. But I do this on purpose because I want to draw you in. I want you to know that you're welcome. I'm not trying to push you away.
A way of stressing your point. Yes.
Yes. And that's why you notice when I talked about focusing and not being distracted, I brought the phone up here. This is a way to help because I think I'm a nice guy. I think not all the time. Trust me, I'm not a nice guy all the time. But God has been good to me. And if he was good to me, he can be good to you. And that can just change the trajectory, the path of your life. So the fifth step is hopeful steps. The way we move forward in sharing hope is in steps. Remember, some of you may remember when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon and he stepped onto the lunar surface and he said it was one great leap for mankind. What a moment. What a historic event. But hope normally does not come in these giant leaps for mankind. It's one step at a time. It's one decision at a time. It's one conversation at a time.
Process.
Yes, it is a process. Just like the Christian process is called a walk. It is not called a giant leap. It is not the broad jump. It is not jumping out of a plane. Most of it is a walk. It's one step at a time. And can I tell you something about walking? It's boring, okay? One step at a time is boring. It's not exciting. It's not a mad dash. It's not like the Olympics, people running and, going as fast.
Yeah.
Step at a time. Someone once said, Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying bricks every hour.
You're right.
So that's one thing to think about in the tips that as we move forward, take it a step at a time. Be patient with yourself.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Be patient with the other person.
Right.
And this third one is a little weird. Be patient with God.
Oh.
God is never late.
Oh.
The Bible clearly says he's never late.
Mm.
So if he hasn't shown up yet, if you haven't received what you've been asking for him, maybe it's not the time.
Yeah.
And maybe God can answer that desire, that need in a most unusual way. But he many times works with people. And you know what people are like. They're slow.
Yeah.
So that's the next one, a hopeful action. So we've got 6 so far. Hopeful
Listening,
assumptions,
posture,
hopeful
steps, and the number 4 is?
Number 4 is hopeful posture. It's hopeful assumptions, hopeful acceptance, hopeful listening, hopeful posture, hopeful steps, and then hopeful actions is what's next. We take the steps, but then we don't just sit there. We have to do things to initiate the hope. As we're reaching out to people, we have to be the ones. Marianne had an appointment the other day, and I walked into the office with her, and there was somebody sitting behind the reception desk, working on their computer. So rather than just, write our names on and sit down, I said, "Hi, how are you?" And he looked up, and he was so happy to have somebody to talk to. And we had a great, great conversation together. And I was able to give him just a little bit of hope, a little bit of encouragement. And his response was, "You've made my day."
Yeah.
That should be our goal every day with every person we meet. I went in the other day to have some blood drawn for some tests. And, the people who stick things in our bodies and our arms usually aren't our friends, right? Just like dentists. Who likes a dentist? But I looked her in the eye and I said to her, "I want you to know I have one objective. Actually, I have 2 objectives. One, I want to be your friend. But the second objective is when you go home tonight and sit down for dinner with your family or friends, I want you to say, I had this patient and he was my best patient. I want to be that guy." So how can we help people in little ways? For example, when you go to the grocery store and you go through the self-checkout line, do a favor for the person coming next to you. After you've gotten all your things together, open the bags up, where you put the food in or stuff, open them up for the next person so they don't have to struggle with them. That's not a big thing, but it's something that we can do quietly for the next person. And you know what? I want to tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. But God saw that when we did it. And he is pleased with that. He is pleased with that. So the 7th step is hopeful appreciation. Show appreciation. When the person couldn't find the vein and finally drew it out of my wrist, I complimented them. I said, "You're very creative." Who would have thought of that? And they were so worried it was going to hurt. It didn't hurt. Speak words of appreciation. Show just little gifts of appreciation. Our son comes to a small group that I lead, and this past week, he made little origami dragons to give to everybody. Just a little thing. It doesn't have to be big. Somebody shared candies. It doesn't matter. Show appreciation, because when you're doing that, what are you doing? You're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about somebody else. If you really want to show appreciation, pick up the trash in somebody's yard. Pick up the trash in the parking lot where you shop. You don't have to pick it all up, but just on the way that you're walking in from your car, you see something on the ground, a piece of paper, a plastic bottle, just pick it up.
Yeah.
And then throw it away. Show appreciation.
Yeah.
And when we do this, we do it in silence. It's not like, "Hey, look what I picked up." No, it's in silence. When Jesus taught us to pray, where did he tell us to go?
Yeah.
On a mountaintop? On YouTube? No, in our closet with the door closed, where nobody can see, because our Heavenly Father, who's in secret, sees us in secret. And appreciation starts at home with the people in your house.
The people in your house, it's true.
Yes. Who more to show appreciation to? And here's a tip. Don't do it your way.
Yeah.
Do it their way.
Do it their way, yes.
Yeah, do it their way.
Yeah.
Here's an example. It's just a little example, but I think it speaks. My wife, Marianne, likes sugar cookies. And she likes small sugar cookies, not the big ones, small ones. And she likes them to be brown. Because that's the way she likes them, that's the way I bake them. Now, if I had to do it, I'd make big ones and I'd make them soft and chewy, but that isn't how she likes them. So when I make sugar cookies, I make them the way she wants them. That is a way to show appreciation in the little things.
Honoring. Another word is honoring.
Yes, honor. Very good. That is a really good word.
Complimenting.
And another word that we don't use anymore, you might have to look this up.
Yeah.
Is the word deference. The word deference means to think of somebody else and what they think, how they would act.
Okay, let me look it up in the dictionary now.
Deference.
Okay. All right, deference. What does it say? Polite submission and respect.
Oh, I like that definition. Polite.
Polite.
Where is politeness gone?
And respect.
Right.
Deference. Yeah.
Yeah, I defer. I defer to them. Let somebody get in line in front of you. What is it going to hurt? It'll cost you 3 minutes and you might make their day. So the 9th step is hopeful direction. It's great to have words and actions. They're terrific, but we need to set a direction for our life. We need to say, when I gave the illustration of what is hope, hope is like in a sailing ship, the end point, the goal. And that drives all the things we do to get there with the sails and the rudders. When we drive, I have a destination. all of the turns,
Sure, yeah.
when I change lanes, when I stop at the red lights and stoplights, all of that is I have a direction.
Yeah.
And we need to set a direction for our lives of hope, so that my life is pointing towards hope.
Right.
Hope will follow me all the days of my
All the days of
life
your life.
if
Yeah.
if I choose to do that.
Yes.
C.S. Lewis once said, "The right direction leads not only to peace, but to knowledge."
Correct.
So we need to set the direction.
Yeah.
And one of the great directions is, what do I do between myself and God? Am I spending time with Him? Am I looking to Him
Mm-hmm.
for forgiveness, for strength for the day, for hope for tomorrow? Am I
Mm-hmm.
saying, here is a prayer, God, there's this person that really bugs me. And yet, even though they bug me, I know you died for them.
Mm-hmm.
Change my heart. Help me to begin the process of accepting them and receiving them.
Amen.
There's a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a prayer. So we have hopeful assumption, hopeful acceptance, hopeful listening, hopeful posture, hopeful steps, hopeful action, hopeful appreciation, hopeful question, hopeful direction, and now last are hopeful connections. And this
Hopeful
one, even
action.
though it's the last one, hopeful connections,
Mm-hmm.
we are influenced greatly
Mm-hmm.
by the things we let into our eyes and our ears
Ah,
and
yeah.
our life.
Right, right.
Am I looking and listening at things that are going to encourage me and hope, or are they going to tear me down? Or are they going to distract me?
Right.
Or the other part of that, the connections, are the people.
Mm-hmm.
Am I looking for hopeful people, to surround myself with hopeful people? And if you feel like you need help in becoming a more hopeful person,
Mm-hmm.
find someone. There is someone in your life who
Mm-hmm.
is already more hopeful. Find them
Mm-hmm.
and go to them, buy them, take them to the pub, get a cup of coffee, do something, and say, I want to learn how you are more hopeful than I am. I just want to watch, I want to listen, and I want to learn from you. The other thing is that not only are there people who have more hope than us that we can learn from, there are always people out there who have less hope than us
Yeah.
that we need to bring along. And we don't do it with an air of superiority. Oh, here I am, a paragon of hope and virtue. You follow me. No, we humbly say, you know, just in listening to them, they'll say something about not being hopeful, about being discouraged. And that's a great time to say, is there any way I can help?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the 10 hopeful tips on how to share hope. And I hope they are ways that will encourage you to
Yeah,
begin
here.
the journey.
Acceptance, listening, posture, steps, action, applications, question, direction, connection, assumption. That's how to share hope. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I was so enlightened. Well, some of them are just are reviews of what we already had previously studied, but some of them are new. I mean, like the accent isn't it's deference, okay? Deference.
Deference. Yep.
It's polite.
It's an old word. People don't, it's not used very much anymore.
Yeah, it's a polite submission. It means polite submission and direction.
Wouldn't you like somebody to be polite to you?
Mm,
Of course we would.
yeah.
So we should be polite to other people.
All right. My question is, these are ideals. These are really ideals. How did you learn this, Chet? I mean, yeah, from many different speakers, we hear
Mhm.
many different points of views, but yours is something that's more condensed. How did you condense all these facts?
Uh, I have a very short attention span. You know, a goldfish has a longer attention span than me. And so I wrote it for me, and you think about our lives, we're being pulled, we're being tugged this way. We only, to to block out, if I said block out an hour, people say, oh no. This book, Hope is the Key, the audio version of it is an hour.
Mm.
So, and these, I call them chunkettes. These little chunkettes from Chet are just 3, 4 minutes
Mm.
each. So, couldn't you spend 3, 4 minutes to help you get a little bit of hope?
Mhm.
We have to start somewhere.
Mm.
And making the big leaps for mankind isn't in most people's lives.
Mm.
Little steps. And I have and when you read the book, you'll say, well, Chet's vocabulary is not very big. That's on purpose. I have a dear friend, his name is Rich.
Right.
He was struck by a truck while riding a bike. He
Yeah.
has traumatic brain injury.
Oh.
And so I wrote this book for so that Rich could understand it.
Yeah.
So that's also part of it.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you so much, Chet, for sharing this with us. There's another value added knowledge that we're learning from the expert of hope himself, not because he is hope himself, but because the God in him, God who lives in him.
And can I just have one other thing?
Yeah.
First of all, if you want this book and you're in Europe, it's available on Amazon in the UK and Italy.
Would
Go
you like to
there.
flash it? Flash
Sure,
the cover of the
I
book.
can do that.
Yeah, please flash the cover of the book and well, the links, please send the links to me, all those links where people can
Okay.
find your book,
Here
Living
it
for
is.
God's
Here it is
Superpower.
in Italy. You see,
Yeah.
this is the Italian version,
Oh, wow. Is it also available,
and here's the UK
the
version.
UK version? Is it also available on what do you call this, Kindle?
Yes, it's in Kindle. You see here the Kindle edition,
Oh, the Kindle edition. All right. And then there's the paperback edition.
paperback and Kindle.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
if you're in the United States,
Mhm.
you can come to my website, chetglad.org, and you can order it there. And if you order it from my website, you'll get an autographed copy of the book.
Oh, all right. Signed copy. Because you be the one to send the copy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Perfect.
Me and my minions.
Me. Perfect. 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 I'm excited to read this. I've been planning to buy this book, but we are just so busy. But I will get hold of your book because hope is very important. Especially these days when if you don't have faith, you will be depleted of hope.
Yes.
Especially these days. Yes. I like the. I highly recommend this book to everyone because nowadays when people disagree with us, I'm one of those, like if people disagree with us, we're not just very patient to deal with them because we are very busy with some stuff in our minds. But then again, yes, I think well, one comment that I can add to this is that we have to be the change that we want to see in this world. But number two, in as much as we are embracing, we must also try to manage our time well in such a way that we don't embrace everyone because not everyone is anointed to be in our life. But we need to, turn away from them gracefully and graciously and still leaving them hope, even if even if we know that they're not meant to be in our lives. Some people might be able to minister to them because we cannot minister to the whole world. All right. So thank you so much, Chet. Thank you so much, Chet. And well, please don't forget to buy his book. We really need hope, 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 hope. We need hope, especially during these days. You know, especially during these days that when you wake up, what do you hear on YouTube? What do you see around you? These are all negative, 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 negative things all around us. So we have to go back to hope and radiate hope. And let us be hopeful. Let's be hopeful and emit the energy of Jesus Christ, which is the beacon of hope. Re- Um, I was a reverend. All right, Chet. Well, I call you reverend because to me, you're a pastor. You're a
Well,
pastor.
reverend means fear, so don't fear me.
No, no. I think revere means love with fear. Love with,
Well, we'll drop off the fear part.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, all right. Thank you so much. Please, whatever it is that you would like to tell our audience right now, please do so.
Well, again, it's been an honor to be a small part of your life. And I just know that your life will be better with hope. I know that. And that if you're more hopeful, you will be infectious. You're going to want people say, why are you doing this? I'm just a guy. I'm just like your neighbor. I found some food. I found something that's good. And rather than keep it to myself, I want to share it. And that's why I do this, because I believe Jesus has the power to change our lives, both now and forever, to pay the penalty and to reunite us with God and one another. And it's in his name that I ask that God would bless you and keep you. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Chet. God bless you. And may you sell your books by the billions, by the billions. And
Well, thank
I
you.
wish you become a best-selling author. All right. Thank you, Chet. God bless you. Bye for
Bye-bye.
Bye for now, friends. Crazy Talks with Wise People. It's Mary Angela Talk with Chet Gladkowski saying goodbye.